My son, many of you know, is a photographer, and I would be amazed if he ever ended up running. He loves being a photographer. Ernie should have persuaded him to give it up, but he didn't. And my daughter is a lawyer in Southern Illinois, and I think one of these years she might run for office.
There was talk that she would run next time as a Democrat.
Well, there is talk every 2 years that she might run for this or that. I don't. She has, if she has made any such decision, she has not conveyed that to me.
Early on in your career, you took on the mob and forces and political corruption in Illinois. And you spoke up. You went to the Crime Commission. You wrote an article. I helped write an article for Harper's. Went after bribers. You talked about the corruption in politics. Has politics changed now that you're saying that complaining about people talking about crooks and criminals, or have you changed?
No. Politics has changed in some ways for the better. There is not the open bribery that was once part of the American scene. It wasn't too many decades ago that the railroads just owned state legislative bodies. Daniel Webster, who's kind of an icon, wrote a letter to the railroad saying, if you don't pay me my retainer, I'm not going to introduce your bill. If he were to do that today, he'd be kicked out of the United States Senate. So in some ways, our standards have improved. But the more sophisticated corruption of our system of financing campaigns has become much worse. As all of you know, up until early in this century, senators were elected by state legislative bodies. And in the state of Illinois, we had an example of someone who spent $100,000 wining and dining the state legislature in Illinois to get elected United States Senator, and people were shocked by it. And so that people would spend $100,000 to get elected to the United States Senate. And so we got an amendment to the Constitution. And now we're spending millions in, the North Dakota you spend millions, not just Illinois and California and New York.
What was the budget? Did you actually ever sit down with your political office to think about it?
We didn't get that far. We did talk about primarily with Jeremy, we talked about who might be a campaign manager and who might handle downstate campaigns and that sort of thing, who might do the polling and media, but we didn't get, we didn't get beyond that.
Didn't you set up a campaign office already back in Illinois?
No.
I called one of your aides yesterday before the announcement, before I even heard about it, about something else, and I was told that he was no longer working in your office, he was working for the campaign.
Well, Floyd Fithian, who once was my administrative assistant, did do some fundraising for me here in the Washington area, but nothing in Illinois.
This is Jerry St. Clair.
No, Jerry doesn't. We have no office.
In your book, you talk about the need for honest, gutsy leadership in the context of discussing about President Clinton ducking on Laney Guinier and ducking on Salman Rushdie and so forth. Do you feel he has not provided this and this contributed to the current elections?
I think the president should be stronger in this area, that the president needs to be tougher at times.
On what?
Oh, a variety of things. I think there has to be a consistent message and a feeling of strong conviction on things. George Will had a column Sunday in which he said people follow convictions strongly believed. I think that's true. And I think that's one of the reasons that I have been successful. I think most people in Illinois disagree with me on capital punishment and a lot of other things, but they know that I'm acting out of belief, and I believe strongly, and I think they want that.
From your contact with voters, do you think, you go around Illinois and these other states, that perception got through and it hurt in these last elections?
I think that was a factor. I think there are a lot of factors, but I think that was a factor.
And what can the president do about this, or is it, that's just as part of his territory?
He can read my book and follow its advice.
Any last question?
What's your next?
This is not a book promotion conference, but I do have another a revision of another book that I did some years ago. I did a biography of Elijah Lovejoy, who was the first martyr of freedom of the press, in case all of you journalists didn't know.